Right, folks, sorry about the tardy, and let's jump right in. I have an answer that I'm waiting for from you guys. We touched yesterday the fact that there's going to be a review of this class. Starts on the 15th of February. I want to confirm if there's anyone who feels that this would be necessary. You don't have to say what you think, but you want to send me an email if you want to participate in that review class. You want to send me an email, right? And if you need a coupon so that we can waive the fee for you, let me know as well in that email. That way I can provide that to you. I promised you guys that I would send as well the link for the payment for this class that's starting, the network security class that starts on the 15th of February as well. That wasn't done, but I hope to get that done before the end of the night. With that in mind, let's jump right in and let's start building a network. I promised that today I would configure all of the things that we have in the diagram, and we'll record that so that you can have all of that in your record. So I'll take the next 15, 20 minutes to do that. And if you guys can hear me, let me know so that I don't speak if you don't hear me. Someone confirm for me if you can hear me. Can you guys hear me? I'm the one who can't hear you. Okay. I should be able to hear you now if you say something. Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Thank you very much. And let's get started. Right, first let me put the diagram on the screen for you so we can have a reminder of the network that we're going to configure. And while I do that, I want to give you guys a reminder, right? When you log into the VDI, if you just close the browser, the session remains on. And there's a limit to how many sessions it can have simultaneously. If you don't sign out, other people won't be able to sign in when we reach the limit of our concurrent sessions. For some folks, like Sunday has been having issues, and we troubleshooted that to too many sessions being open at the same time. So I invite you again to close your sessions, sign out of the session. Don't just close the browser, but sign off or whatever they say the word is. See, I don't know, log off. I think the word is log off. Log off
Hello?
before.
I don't know if you can hear me, but I can't hear anything.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I don't know if you can hear me, but I can't hear anything.
Okay, I'm gonna have to mute this guy. Yes, Henry, we can hear you. You can't hear us. Okay. If someone could send a message and tell him that we can hear him. Right. So let's get started here. PowerPoint's up. Putting that up right now. Waiting for my PowerPoint to, but nonetheless, geez, what's happening? There it is.
Good. I can hear you now.
Okay. Right, this is the network that we're talking about here. I'm gonna put that full screen so you guys can see it better. All right, there it is. We can see on the screen here a few things, right? And what I want you to really pay attention to is the core router. We start at the core router and we go towards the computers. Next thing we have is the distribution switch and the access. The assignment is for us to configure VLAN 10 and 20 or whatever VLAN that we want. We're going to configure two VLANs. We're going to configure Ether channel. We're going to configure trunk ports. We're going to, and that's about it. Between the two switches, that's all we do. Configure VLANs, we configure Ether channel and trunk ports. Let's do those three things right away. With Putty up, right? I'm already in the distribution switch here. I'm just going to start my session. I have just about 10 minutes to finish what I want to do because I want to make sure that by 6:25 we completed with that and you guys can ask questions. Okay. And first thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to configure the Ether channel. And I'm going to configure that Ether channel using interfaces 3 and 4. But you guys know that for yourself, you need to start at interface 11 because we don't want you to make any change from interface 0 to interface 10 because we use these to keep connectivity between the network devices. So conft interface fast Ethernet 1/0/3. I want to make sure that I give it a range. What I'm doing here is that I'm going to configure an Ether channel. The first thing I do is that I access an interface range. And that range is interfaces 3 and 4. With interfaces 3 and 4 being accessed, I can now give it my command. Channel group. Now call that group 10. In mode, the 10 is the number that I assign to that interface. So that's going to be an Ether channel interface, and the number is 10. The mode, here we have options. You know, if you choose active, that's going to be an LSCP, unconditionally enabled Ether channel. If we choose auto, that's PAGP, that's Cisco's proprietary. If you choose desirable, that is PAGP as well. If you choose passive, then that's LSCP. So we're going to choose active. And we can hit enter. Ether channel has been created. Now, I want this Ether channel to be a trunk port. The purpose of my Ether channel is to connect the distribution switch with the access switch. So while I'm there, I'm going to exit so that I can access my Ether channel now. PO interface, interface PO 10. That's my Ether channel. Now I have accessed my interface, and my interface now is PO10. That's Ether channel 10. And with that in mind, I can give it switchboard mode trunk, just like a regular interface. Now that I have created the Ether channel, I access the Ether channel, and I'm going to make it a trunk interface. Interface trunk. I'm sorry, switchboard trunk. Allowed VLAN. I want to allow VLAN 35 and 45. I'm sorry if anybody created those VLANs before, but that's the VLANs that I want to create on my access switches, on my access switch and on my distribution switch. Bam. What have I achieved then? I have created an Ether channel using 2 ports, ports 3 and 4. I have accessed that Ether channel. I've made it a trunk port, and I have allowed VLANs 35 and 45 on that Ether channel. That's almost half of the exercise. If we look back at the PowerPoint. And voila. We're right here. We have created this Ether channel on that distribution switch using Fast Ethernet 0/3 and Fast Ethernet 0/4. We have made that Ether channel a trunk port. We're going to go into the access switch and do the same thing. Hopefully nobody took the access switch down. Right, I'm going to close this, open the PuTTY. Et voila. Lock. You all understand what I have done here. I've logged into my switch, have elevated my privilege from what was that mode that I was in when I had to give the enable? It was user exec mode, and I've elevated from user exec to privileged exec mode. And I'm going to go into global configuration mode. And everybody understands what I've done here so far. And I want to make sure that I configure the second part of the Ether channel. We created the part on the distribution switch. We want to make sure that we do the same thing on the access switch. And here we go. Interface Fast Ethernet 4/3. We want to make it a range rather. This 4. Then we have accessed that. We want to make sure that we give the same commands that we gave on the other interface, but on the other switch, Ether channel. We want to make sure as well that we have the same configurations, right? We have the same speed, the same duplex, right? The same MDIX configuration. These things were configured before, but essentially all we should do is to say speed, auto, duplex, auto, right? And MDIX, if it has that feature, auto. What did I do here? Speed means how fast this interface will be. Well, that will be auto. It will be determined based on a negotiation between the two switches. Duplex means can it send and receive at the same time, right? Full duplex means it can send and receive at the same time. Half duplex means it can only do one of those at the same time. If it's sending, it can't be receiving. If it's receiving, it can't be sending. Now, on auto, it's based on the configuration of the other switch. We want to make sure that both sides have the same configuration. And with that in mind, now we can give it the configuration that we gave for the Ether channel. That was channel group. And that was group 10. Mode. This says I have to say between 1 and 6. No big deal. I'm going to make it 5. Mode. And I'm going to be active again. An Ether channel has been created. I exit out of this mode. I'm going to access that interface for channel 5. And I'm going to give it, and now that I have created and accessed my Ether channel here on that switch, I'm going to give it the same trunk configuration that I gave on the other switch. Switch port, mode, trunk. Port, trunk, allowed, VLAN 35, 45, right? These are the two VLANs that I want to allow on that. But I want to make sure that I also change the native VLAN on this trunk port. So, switch port trunk. I didn't do that on the other side. I'm going to have to go back and do it. Switch port trunk, native VLAN. And my native VLAN will be VLAN 55. Bam. I need to say native VLAN, switch port trunk, native VLAN 55. Et voilà. VLAN ID 55 not found in current VLAN configuration. No worries about that. I can create that. It. VLAN 55. VLAN 55 is created. Exit. In fact, I'm gonna go back to VLAN 55. I'm gonna name that VLAN. Right. Name. What did we say this VLAN would be used for? This is going to be a native VLAN. Bam. Okay, now that's done. I'm going to go back into my Ether channel interface. Interface VO 5, right? And now I'm going to change the native VLAN. Port, trunk, native VLAN 55. Got to put. Et voila, this time it works. Now with that in mind, while I am here on this interface, I remember that I had to create two VLANs, right? VLAN 35 and VLAN 55. So let me do that once and for all. VLAN 35. VLAN 45, right? Done. Now also remember that I need to access to assign those things to some interface, right? And all I need to do here is to access the interfaces that I want to assign those VLANs to. So I'm going to assign VLAN 11. I'm going to assign interface 11 to VLAN 35 and interface 12 to VLAN 45. So I'm going to enter interface fast Ethernet / fast Ethernet / 11. And I'm going to give it the command now to make it a member of VLAN 35. Switch port mode. First, I make it an access port, switch port mode access. Switch port access VLAN 35. Et voila. What have I achieved here? If you look on my screen, you'll see I created VLAN 35 by giving this command over here. VLAN 35. This is my command. Next thing I did, I exit out of that VLAN configuration mode, because once you create the VLAN, you're in VLAN configuration mode. I now exited and I entered interface configuration mode. What interface did I enter? Interface 11. And now that I am in interface configuration mode, I wanted to make sure that I make this interface an access port. I make this interface an access port. And to make an interface an access port, I give it this command, switch port mode access. That's the mode of that interface. It's not going to be a trunk port. It's going to be an access port. The type of ports that we connect an end device on, such as a laptop, a printer, telephone, etc. And I want to make sure that I assign this interface to a VLAN, because an access port needs to be assigned a VLAN, and only one VLAN cannot be assigned two VLANs, right? The normal circumstance. Understand that a lot of the things that I'm telling you today, I'm telling you what you need to know. But when you get super advanced, that there are things that used to be impossible that you now make them possible. Okay. So under normal conditions, a switch port is assigned to one VLAN and one VLAN. An access port, that is, access port is assigned to one VLAN and only one. So I've assigned my interface to VLAN 35. I want to do the same thing for interface 45. All I need to do is to exit and enter fast Ethernet 0/12. And I'm going to assign interface 12 to VLAN 45. First, I need to make sure that I make it a switch port access. Make this switch port an access port. Switch port access VLAN 45. Bam. And I'm done with my configuration on this switch. This is what we agreed that we were going to do here. We had two VLANs, right? And now we have also created an Ether channel. We have allowed those VLANs on that Ether. And we have created this Ether channel over here as well. We changed the native VLAN on that Ether channel. We didn't remember to do that when we were configuring the distribution switch. Over here, we change our native VLAN to VLAN 55. And we're going to go in this distribution switch and remember to change the native VLAN to VLAN 45 as well. Because native VLAN has to be the same on both sides. Otherwise, there is no trunk. So let's give a quick verification command here to see if what we believe we have done, we have really done. Show VLAN, and I can say summary, our VLAN brief, let's say that. Et voila. What did we do? Wow, somebody had VLAN 45 and they called that, don't touch my VLAN. Okay, but no worries. I didn't touch a VLAN. All I did was to assign that VLAN to assign fast Ethernet 12 to that VLAN. And you can see that here. VLAN 35 has a name as well. Somebody else's VLAN here. But I've assigned this VLAN to, I've assigned this interface to this VLAN.
I don't think we can see what you were looking at.
Very good. Thank you for telling me. I really appreciate that because I thought you were seeing it. Cool. So here it is. I gave my verification command here, show VLAN brief. And now I'm saying a brief summary of all of the VLANs, right? So VLAN 35 that we just created, somebody created it before. We just recreated that. We didn't change the name. And you realize that if it's already created, you recreate it a second time, that's no big deal. You can change the name if you want, but no problem. So all I've done here is assign interface 11 to VLAN 35, and same thing for VLAN 45. And I've also created my native VLAN, VLAN 55, that I call native VLAN. So we can confirm that these things are true and they're happening. So let's confirm the interface, right? Show interface. Options do I have? I will give an interface description. Et voila. If we give that command, we'll see interfaces that are up, and if they have a description is like the name of the VLAN, right? So we can see our Ether channel interface is down. It's not supposed to be down. If everything was okay, it would have been up. So let's go to the distribution switch and see why it's down. I'm logging in this distribution switch now. I know you can't see yet, but I'm going to put it up once I log in. Before I do that, let me see the configuration. Show interface PO5. I give you the command to show you the configuration of that specific interface that I believe I have just configured. Show interface PO5, that is port channel 5. And this is how this thing is configured today. Port channel is down. It's just telling me that. Encapsulation, Okay. I'll give it another command, show switch port. Interface switch port. And I can say, I'm not going to go into that today. I have to suffer through this by one until I see the one I want. There is a way for you to show exactly what you want, but we're not learning that today. so we don't create confusion. Which has no more than 24 ports. That's good for us. Et voila. This is our interface, right? What's the mode? Trunk. Operational mode down. Okay, administrative trunk, encapsulation, that one queue. Okay, native VLAN. Trunk, native VLAN mode, inactive. Okay. Ah, that was in our interface. Interface 5. That's what it was. We are 5. Trunk native VLAN 55. We know we that's what we did. Trunk VLAN enabled 3545. Cool. That means VLANs that we have allowed on that trunk, right? A trunk is an interface that allows multiple VLANs to pass through. So we can show interface trunk, right? Is our interface, the port channel, a trunk interface today? You see, you have given the command. You have given all of the commands that you could have given on this switch to make this a trunk port. Yet, as you say to the switch, you give the command for the switch to show you all of your trunk ports. You can't see, right, this particular trunk port. Why? It's because even if you give the command, that doesn't mean you have a trunk port. There must be the negotiation between the two switches before a trunk can be formed. And only when the trunk is formed can you see it in the by giving the command show interface trunk. The trunk must be active. And active means that it has a link connecting the two, the trunk on the two switches, and the two switches have agreed that they're configured properly for a trunk to be formed. So now we're going to get out of this, and we're going to enter the distribution switch to validate that we have done what we needed. Here's the distribution. What do we need from here? We are going to give show. First, we're going to make sure that we do what we were supposed to do. Going to enter interface port channel. We call this thing port channel 10 over here. But the other switch didn't allow us to create a port channel with number 10, so we could only do number 5. I'm going to create that as port channel 5 or as well over here. So interface range class Ethernet 1/0/3 space 4. And what we want to do here as well is to give it the command channel group 5 active. We want to command rejected is formed and 5 added to the channel group. The interface cannot be terminated because it failed on fast Ethernet. What would that be? Kind of cool. Now I can give my command again. I have no clue why this happened now. Okay, I have no clue what that means. And here's what people do in the real world. You Google that. I have never seen that before. And I see it for the first time. Google it. Okay. There seems to be an answer here from Google, from Cisco. Problem happened here. You guys can't see my screen here, but the answer for that was, put my screen up. Perfect. Protocol. Would it have been good that I know these are someone the Google search as well? That error that we found. Error, right? Bench command terminated because it. You don't need to put the name of the fast Ethernet, but put held on up there because the person who I put the. All right. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give first the commands to make everything the same. I didn't find an answer. Google here. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna make sure that I give it those commands that I should have given it. And these commands are feed, auto, feed, auto, duplex, auto, PIX, auto. We know these things have to be the same on both sides. And we fail again. Channel protocol mismatch. Interface 5. Okay. Okay. No. All these things in this loop 10. Because from part of the message it says channel protocol mismatch for that interface in group 5. Okay. So we can do that. Now we're going to create that. Et voila. This is the solution, folks. We had to delete or tear down the previous channel group that we created. We didn't do that, and it didn't allow us to give that command. We learned something here. I didn't know that, and I had never seen this problem before. But you know how it works in the real world. If you've never seen it before, you research it, and you find a solution, implement it, and make sure you write it down somewhere, document that in case that happens to you again in the future, because you might not remember. So now that we have created that whole thing, we're going to give it the trunk configuration again. Switch port, mode, I need to enter this interface. 5, right? Mode, trunk. Command rejected. And we know why. We didn't give it the switch port, trunk, encapsulation, that one queue. And voila. We were successful earlier, but somehow in the process of deleting the port channel. Well, in fact, we know why. This is a new port channel, right? This new port channel 5, it was not encapsulated as that one queue, what Beverly explained yesterday. Is that clear to everybody that we need to make sure that we choose our encapsulation, and it cannot be encapsulation auto before we can create a trunk port. And if it gives you that error, all you need to do is to choose your encapsulation explicitly by using this command that we give here, right? Plain and simple. Switch port mode, trunk, port, trunk, allowed, VLAN, 35, 45. Bam. We need to change the native VLAN. We don't have to do that. Now, since we did that on the access port, we have to do it on the I'm sorry. Since we did it on the port channel side on the access switch, we also have to do it on this side as well, as they have to match. But if we didn't change it on the other side, we wouldn't have to change it on this side. It would have a native VLAN by default. Switch port, trunk, native. That's 55, right? Bam. VLAN 55 not configured. We're going to create VLAN 55, PO 5, native VLAN. Bam. And we save. And now, should we have a trunk interface? I believe we should. Let's give it the command. Is it part of that? It's not part. And that's something we have to troubleshoot. Now, what could be our problem? Port channels. Does anybody remember play the port channel? Do a quick search. Find a command to display port channel configuration. Yeah, sure.
The show port channel name command. When we put that there,
I see it. Show ether channel. Port channel number. Show ether channel. Cool. There it is. Show ether channel. Give that. Give port channel. Let's do show ether channel summary. Okay. Here's our ether channel summary here. And we know what do we have here. Ether channel 5, 305, we'll pack P. How we pack P? We're not supposed to be pack P here. We're supposed to be ICP, right? So somebody may have configured that before. So let's just exit out of here. Out of the I'm going to quickly delete that in case somebody was creating this before. And so what we're going to do here, we're going to say no. Channel group 5 mode. verify. And what you guys are realizing now, I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know why I didn't have my port channel configured as LACP when I gave it the command for it to be LACP. I just assumed that this channel was configured by somebody else before me. So I'll give it the command again, show ether channel. I'm trying to find out summary if I have the same, since I believe I deleted it. And there it is, it's still here, right? We have channel group 5. So this was not really deleted. I'm going to give details about those channel groups. Port channel 5. And for port channel 5, protocol is PAGP, port security is disabled. Okay. Channel 10. Let's see if I can. Oh, 5. Ah. So port channel 10 is still there too, except that it has no member. It has some member. It has fast Ethernet 1/0/4. The command now in either channel because it seems like the dev didn't. If you can find a command. Okay, interface port channel X. Interface channel. And we give a number here, 5. Bam. I deleted 5. Et voila, 5's gone. I'm gonna do the same thing for. I think it's worth remembering this command, right? No interface port channel, whatever. No interface port channel, because we're creating a bunch of those things. Good to know how to delete them. 10. Bam. Delete that. Interface fast. 3. You want to make sure that is range. Five. Sure. This thing to be LACP, right? It can't change its mind if they wanted to create it. Exit. Mode. Interface. PO 5. Read. Auto. X. Auto. X. It does not have this feature. Switch does not have this feature, so we untouch that. And what do we do here? Then that we go command -45. Change the name. Et voilà. we're still not trunking. Okay. So, but can we show we've done everything? Can we all confirm if I've done everything that I needed to do to create an Ether channel? I believe we've done that, right? So, the channel. Et voila. Now we are what we want to be, right? LACP. We're going to want to make sure that it's the same thing on the other side as well. How do we make sure of that? Let's jump into the other switch. Yeah, now that you all understand all of the things that I have done. What I'm doing here is plugging into the other switch. Shame that I can't both of them. Close the other. So show Ether channel. What do we have? LACP. Good. Ether channel. The mem. Ah, there it is. I next. So G. No. Okay. Shut it down. Anything? But what's something that can cause that to happen to us, right? Is there something called spanning tree? Would spanning tree have been no problem? Sure. Spanning tree, right? But spanning tree have decided that, you know what, I'm going to block this port because I don't want it to cause a loop. So could that have been the case? Let's see. Let's spinning tree for that. This. 5. Interface port channel 5. We're looking at the spanning tree instance for that. Spanning tree. This may have been there. We don't know why, but that remains to be found. We're going to troubleshoot that and find out why. Why did that happen? That we gave all the configuration that we should have given, get the interface not up. I need to go into the MDF as well and validate that they are plugged into the ports where we expect them to be plugged into. And at that point, we will continue our troubleshooting. And whatever I find to be the problem, I'll record it and send. And let's take a couple of questions. What we have done here is all of the things that we should have done in the assignment. Whether they work or not is a different story. But sometimes, as you see on a real network, unlike a simulator, on a real network, you may have done everything by the book and it doesn't work. Or maybe we thought we did it by the book and we forgot something, had an error somewhere. We're going to find where the error was, fix that error. Because our end goal that we have an Ether channel that is functional, passing traffic. Is there any question?
I got a question, Jay.
Yeah.
Yesterday and today's class, are you going to be able to post that for review on the Magna Cyber website?
Yes, for sure. I didn't think yesterday was necessary given we didn't cover much, but I think Beverly's explanation went, so I'll put both of them. Okay.
Please, thank you.
No problem.
I had a question. So what's going to be for the rest of the week?
What's going to be for the rest of the week is that we're going to make sure that we can finish building the network. That includes routing as well. The network, what we've been focusing on for the past few days have been switching, right? And you guys have full understanding now of the switching concepts that we covered in the class so far. We want to make sure this is true as well for routing. So starting tomorrow, we're going to do the same thing on the rest of the topology for the routing portion of the assignment. And you look at the screen here, you're going to realize that you have a router to configure. This router is what takes your traffic from your core switch into your firewall. You're not done until you can do that as well. And wherever we end, right, if we are able to finish that and understand that tomorrow, then we'll move into a couple more that we'll spend a week making sure that we fully understand that. And that's a lot. Being able to understand those concepts that we have in front of us here, that's a lot of things to understand in 1 month. So rush. That's what we're focusing on. We have more time on air. Any other question? Right, folks? Thank you for coming today. We'll catch up again tomorrow. Same time, same place. All right. Mark, are you here? But then two different accounts. And welcome back, my people. Second here while I